Quote for this morning is, "The dust has not settled." Jonathan Gannon has met with the media this morning to talk all things about constructing the 53-man roster for the Arizona Cardinals. He also mentioned that we will know a lot more next Monday in terms of who's going to be the practice squad as well as what the 53-man roster is going to look like. Let's dive into all the things that you need to know about the 2024 Arizona Cardinals heading into Week 1 versus Buffalo. Let's get started. Alright everyone, welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel we cover everything Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up, it's absolutely for free.
Obviously a lot of work last couple days here of getting to the initial 53 in practice squad. I would tell you guys the dust has not settled. I always say truthfully, so the times I don't say truthfully, you think I'm lying, but truthfully, the dust has not settled. The better indication of the 53-man roster and the practice squad will be on Monday. I would say that. So I know you guys are going to have questions and stuff, and that's cool. But every team right now there's a period of time here in the next couple of days. Monty's doing it right now. The dust hasn't settled. But I feel really good about where we're at right now, and look forward to today. We're on the practice field today and tomorrow. A lot of work done.
All right, everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about some 2024 Arizona Cardinals, shall we? Now, yesterday, the Arizona Cardinals ended up releasing their 53-man roster, and of course, there was a lot of question marks that come along with why the roster was constructed the way that it was. Why did we have 4 tight ends but didn't keep Michael Carter? Why was Kryce Barnes ended up released, right? There was just a lot of questions from Cardinal fans. Now, we did actually hear from Jonathan Gannon this morning, and he actually came out and said the dust has not settled, which is an indication that there's still going to be a lot of moving parts amongst this 53-man roster. Now, the waiver wire claim has actually came out, and the Arizona Cardinals did not claim anybody. Now, if this is one of those things that potentially your guys that were picking at 1 and 2 potentially got some players that they were looking into, potentially, right? But the Arizona Cardinals not getting anybody off of waivers is actually pretty shocking to me because the Cardinals need help, right? And especially in the whole edge position. Now, hearing the fact that Jonathan Gannon is coming out saying that the dust has not settled is giving me an indication that yes, there is going to be a lot more moving parts, but what are we going to do about the edge position, right? Which is still going to be a big sore thumb, and most people in the NFL, including Week 1's opponent Buffalo, knows that one of the biggest weaknesses on the Arizona Cardinals is our edge position. So I'm very curious to figure out what the Arizona Cardinals are going to do to try to maneuver causing pressure. We also know that Darius Robinson has now found himself on the IR and will not be available to play until at least Week 5, and that's if the Arizona Cardinals decide to remove him off of IR and if he's ready to go. Now, a lot of other things that he mentioned on this press conference, one of the big things is obviously talking about Michael Carter. That was one of the biggest concerns as to why the Arizona Cardinals decided to cut him. Now, there was a report here from John Gambadoro saying that the Arizona Cardinals are moving him to the practice squad, so hallelujah. That's actually really good news. That was kind of a heartbreaker for me as well, and especially because Michael Carter was a different type of running back compared to the guys that we already have on this roster, right? Sometimes you need that lightning to that thunder running back, right? And I feel like Michael Carter was that guy that proved himself last year. And we heard Jonathan Gannon come out and said that he didn't play Week 3 of preseason because we've seen all we needed to see from him. So it was kind of an indication that he was going to sneak his way into the 53, but being the fact that he didn't make it, but he is still on the practice squad, which is definitely a breath of fresh air. Now, a couple other people that we heard that are potentially going to be on the practice squad is going to be Marquise Hayes, offensive lineman, as well as Desmond Ridder, quarterback. Now, there will be a lot of moving parts, like I mentioned before. We're going to know who the for sure people that is going to be on our practice squad most likely next week on Monday or early next week per Jonathan Gannon. I'll continue to talk about Jonathan Gannon's press conference. I feel like there was a lot of good information on there pertaining to what was the mind process and what was the thought process of, a couple different players that didn't make the roster as to, did Clayton Tune beat out Desmond Ridder? And obviously now that Desmond Ridder's finding himself in the practice squad, you really kind of get into the mind process of what Jonathan Gannon ended up saying there. So it was really good press conference in terms of kind of getting a lot of information. But I think one of the biggest lingering questions out there as to why the Arizona Cardinals aren't really making a move is the whole edge rushing position currently right now. As it stands, we currently do have Zaven Collins as well as Dennis Gardeck being your number 1 and number 2. Now, I was really kind of holding my breath for the Cardinals to potentially get a gem in this waiver wire claim, but being the fact that the Arizona Cardinals didn't claim anybody, now like we mentioned before, might have been one of those situations where the guys that were in front of them picked a player they wanted, or the Cardinals probably were just not active, right? We really do not know exactly how this has, transpired to the level of we're looking at, right? So I was one of those guys that truly thought that there was going to be a big turnover rate from when the 53-man roster was constructed to now when the waiver wire claim has been released this morning here on Wednesday. But we did hear Jonathan Gannon come out and say that there probably won't be as much as you think when it turns to turnaround. So I don't know. It kind of leads me to the understanding of what is the plan here, right? Are we really going to go into week 1 versus Buffalo with Zaven Collins as well as Dennis Gardeck? Now, we do hear Jonathan Gannon come out and says that he's confident in his edge group. And honestly, I don't expect him to see anything different, right? I don't think I expect him to come out here and say, oh yeah, we need help. Obviously he's the coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He's going to be speaking very, very politically correct. Now, we did hear Jonathan Gannon come out and say that he is actually extremely comfortable with the edge rushers that we currently have on this roster. Now, he did make a comment against the media. He ended up saying, you guys might not like what we have going on, but he's actually very, very confident with the people that we currently have on the roster. Now, I get where that's coming from, right? Obviously, he is a lot more around football. He's the guy that's making these decisions, as well as Monty Austin for it. But I think at the end of the day, when most people are out here saying that the Arizona Cardinals have one of the worst pass rushing cores in the NFL, it's definitely something to obviously shine the light on and ask questions, because the Cardinals have yet to address this big need in year 1 of Monty Austin for it, as well as year 2 of Monty Austin for it as well. Now, Jonathan Gannon did start off the press conference saying the dust has not settled. Now, does that kind of leave things open, right? Does that kind of have your eyes peeled back and say, hey, maybe Monty Austin for is working on something, right? Maybe we're waiting for him to cook something. Maybe we might get that trade that we are all kind of longing for. But as of right now, we are less than 2 weeks away from the start of Buffalo, and we still haven't addressed it, right? So unless there is some big blockbuster trade for the Arizona Cardinals to go after a pass rusher that's going to help this defense, I feel like the Arizona Cardinals offense are going to be able to score a lot of points, but we're going to have to also continue to score points because we do not have a defense that's going to be able to continuously cause pressure to the opposing quarterback. In the start of the season, we got 3 really good quarterbacks coming our way. We got Josh Allen, we got Matthew Stafford, and then we got Jared Goff as well. So I don't understand why there's not much urgency with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, obviously, I'm going to sit back and see what Monty Austin for and the Arizona Cardinals organization is going to decide to do, but I do think this is going to be a big talking point moving forward from the start of the season, the middle of the season, to the end of the season, because I think it's very, very important to recognize that the Arizona Cardinals have a big need with $30+ million in cap space, and right now we have yet to address that big need on the defensive side of the ball. I have high praises and high confidence with the Arizona Cardinals offense. We heard Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, James Conner talk glowing remarks about not putting a limit on this offense, and I truly believe it with the weapons that we have. I'm just so worried about the defensive side of the ball in terms of why we're not doing anything to address this big need. Are you confident that the Arizona Cardinals are going to go after a pass rusher, get somebody else, out there and, fill that need heading into 2024 against the Buffalo Bills? Let me know here in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.